Welcome. Over the last 3 lectures, we built measure theory, measurable spaces, measurable functions, and integral. Here is the payoff. In this lecture, that vocabulary becomes the vocabulary of probability. A measure of total mass 1 becomes a probability, a measurable function becomes a random variable, and its integral becomes an expectation. One dictionary, and the results of the earlier chapters carry straight over into the world of chance. Here is the plan. 4 sections. First, probability spaces, total mass 1, events, almost sure properties. Next, random variables, their distribution, their expectation, their moments, their cumulative distribution function, and their density. Then, independence, with the product law and the change of variables. And finally, the monotone and dominated convergence theorems, carried over to the probabilistic setting. Before the first definition, the principle that runs through the whole lecture, probability theory does not rest on new foundations. It rests on those of measure theory, the ones we have just built. One extra axiom, total mass equals 1, and new names for objects that are already familiar. This lecture opens part 2 of the book, Measure Theory, Probability, and Stochastic Processes, an integrated approach. After 3 lectures on measure theory and its integral, we turn to probability theory, built directly on those foundations. The dictionary fits in 3 lines. A probability is a measure of total mass 1. A random variable is a measurable function, and its expectation is a Lebesgue integral with respect to the probability measure. The roadmap follows this dictionary, section by section. First section. Probability spaces. Total mass 1. That is the whole definition. The goal of this section is to set up the vocabulary. Events, properties that hold almost surely, and conditioning. The foundational definition is short. A probability space is a measure space whose total mass equals 1. The measure is then called a probability or a probability measure, and the members of the sigma algebra are called events. This diagram lays out the dictionary. On the left, in orange, measure theory, a measure space of any total mass, finite or infinite, together with a measurable function valued in the extended reals and its integral. On the right, in green, probability theory, the same space, the same function, the same integral, now a probability space, a random variable, and an expectation. Between the two, the double arrow gives the condition for the transition, bring the total mass down to 1. Each row reads left to right, like a dictionary entry. 2 notions round out the vocabulary. A property of the points of our space holds almost surely when the set of points where it fails is negligible for the probability. The same negligibility is in the earlier chapters, unchanged. As for conditioning, for an event B of strictly positive probability, the probability of A given B divides the probability of their intersection by the probability of B. Second section. The random variable. Here is the full picture of the notion, its distribution, its expectation, its moments, its cumulative distribution function, and its density. The definition fits in 1 line. A random variable is a measurable function, defined on our probability space, valued in some measurable space. Its distribution is the image of the probability under this function, the probability that the variable lands in a given region. The definition also includes the sigma algebra generated by the variable. 3 special cases guide what follows: real-valued variables, random vectors, and simple variables, which are finite linear combinations of indicators. A canonical construction. Start from the probability measure itself. Take as your probability space its own measurable space, equipped with this measure, and as your random variable, the identity map. The distribution of this canonical variable is then exactly the measure you started with. Next comes the expectation. For a random variable valued in the extended reals or extended complex numbers, with 1 or several components, the expectation is its Lebesgue integral with respect to the probability. When that integral is well defined, we then say the variable has a well-defined expectation. When the variable is integrable with respect to the probability, we simply say it is integrable. For a single component, this means its absolute value has finite expectation. The first 3 identities. The first ties expectation to probability. The expectation of the indicator function of an event is the probability of that event. The other 2 are computed piece by piece. For a complex variable, real part and imaginary part separately. For a variable with several components, component by component, as soon as the right-hand sides are well defined. 3 basic properties. The absolute value of the expectation is at most the expectation of the absolute value. An integrable variable is almost surely finite. It can take infinite values only on a negligible set. Finally, if the expectation of the absolute value is 0, then the variable itself is almost surely 0. Linearity and monotonicity. The basic properties of the integral carry over to the expectation. In the non-negative case, combinations with non-negative coefficients pass through the expectation, infinite values allowed. In the integrable case, combinations with real or complex coefficients pass through in the same way, with the summation convention recalled in the book. In between, monotonicity. If one variable is almost surely at most another, and both expectations are well defined, they compare the same way. The corollary handles simple variables. A finite combination of indicators is integrable, and its expectation is the matching combination of the probabilities of the events. Here's the transfer theorem. To compute the expectation of g of x, there are 2 routes. Integrate g of x over our probability space, or integrate g directly over the state space, with respect to the distribution of x. The lemma says that as soon as one side is well defined, the other side is too, and the two are equal, and that g is integrable for the distribution if and only if g of x is integrable. In other words, the distribution of the variable is enough to compute these expectations. The diagram turns the 2 routes into a picture. Top left, in orange, our abstract probability space. Below, in green, the state space, where the distribution of x lives. The random variable joins them, the grey arrow pointing down. To reach the extended reals, on the right, 2 routes. The abstract route, in orange, starts from our space and integrates g of x against the probability. The concrete route, in green, starts from the distribution and integrates g. 2 routes, 1 value. This is the transfer theorem, and its exact formula is recalled below the diagram. The corollary applies transfer to the variable itself. When its expectation is well defined, or when the variable with several components is integrable, this expectation can be read straight off the distribution as an integral over the extended reals or extended complex numbers with one or several components. 3 quantities attached to a random variable: the mean, its expectation, when that is well defined, the variance, for an integrable variable, valued in the extended reals or extended complexes, the expectation of the squared distance to the mean. It may be infinite, and its square root is called the standard deviation, and the characteristic function, for an almost surely finite variable valued in the extended reals, the family of expectations of complex exponentials, indexed by a real parameter. 2 ways to compute the variance. The Konig-Huygens formula first. The variance is the expectation of the square, minus the square of the mean, in absolute values, to cover the complex case. The second lemma describes what happens under scaling. The variable times a scalar stays integrable, and its variance is multiplied by the squared absolute value of the scalar. The cumulative distribution function assigns to each point the probability that the variable is less than or equal to that point. The inequality understood component by component for a vector valued in the extended reals. The telescope formula computes an expectation from the cumulative distribution function alone. For a non-negative variable, in the extended sense, the expectation is the area between the cumulative distribution function and the level 1. For a variable with integer values, including the value infinity, the same formula becomes a sum, the series of probabilities that the variable reaches at least 1, at least 2, and so on. What do we know about this cumulative distribution function? The precise properties are listed on the slide. Values between 0 and 1, non-decreasing and right continuous on the reals. Existence of left-hand limits. Behavior at both infinities. The point to remember is the fourth. The jump of the cumulative distribution function at a point measures exactly the probability that the variable takes that value. In particular, continuity at a point is the same as 0 probability for that point, and the discontinuities are at most countable. Finally, the restriction to the reals is a cumulative distribution function in the sense of the first chapter of the book. The figure shows the 2 phenomena side by side. On the left, in orange, a cumulative distribution function that jumps at a point A. The vertical double arrow marks the height of the jump, and that height is exactly the probability that the variable equals A. On the right, in green, a non-negative variable. The shaded area between the curve and the level 1 is exactly the expectation of the variable, the telescope formula, recalled below the panel. When the distribution of a random vector is absolutely continuous with respect to the Lebesgue measure, the vector is called absolutely continuous, and the Radon-Nikodym derivative of its distribution, which exists and is unique almost everywhere, is called the probability density function. In this setting, computing expectations drops one more level. The integral against the distribution becomes an ordinary integral against the density. For any measurable function g, whose expectation of g of x is well defined, this expectation is the integral of g weighted by the density, in the Lebesgue sense, over the whole space. A concrete example: the uniform variable on an interval. Its density is constant on the interval and 0 elsewhere, the constant being 1 over the length. Its mean is the midpoint of the interval. Its variance, the length squared divided by 12. Third section, independence. We define it for events, for families, then for random variables, and we draw out its consequences for computing distributions, the factorizations, the product law, and the change of variables for densities. Two events are independent when the probability of their intersection is the product of their probabilities. A family, indexed by any set, is independent when every non-empty finite subfamily factors the same way. And two collections are independent when every event of the first is independent of every event of the second. The same idea carries over to random variables. Two variables, valued in any measurable spaces, are independent when every pair of conditions factors. The probability that the first lands in one region and the second in another is the product of the two probabilities. A family of variables is independent when every finite subfamily factors this way, whatever the choice of regions. Two preservation lemmas. Transforming variables does not destroy independence. If two variables are independent, their images under measurable functions into new measurable spaces stay independent. Passing to the generated sigma algebras preserves it too. Two independent collections, each closed under finite intersection, generate independent sigma algebras. Independence can also be read off the cumulative distribution functions. Variables valued in the extended reals with one or several components are independent if and only if their joint cumulative distribution function factors into the product of the individual ones, at every point, component by component. The same characterization on the density side, and in both directions. If independent variables each have a density, then the vector they form is absolutely continuous, with density the product of the densities. Conversely, if the joint density factors into a product of probability density functions, then the variables are independent, with those factors as their respective densities. Next comes the product law. Two variables are independent if and only if the law of the pair is the product of the marginal laws. And for computation, if two integrable variables, valued in the extended reals or extended complexes, are independent, then their product is integrable, and the expectation of the product is the product of the expectations. Under independence, the variance becomes additive. For independent variables, valued in the extended reals or extended complexes, each square integrable, their sum is square integrable, and the variance of the sum is the sum of the variances. The last result of the section transports densities. Take an open set, and an injective continuously differentiable map whose Jacobian matrix is invertible at every point. Take a random vector with a density that lives almost surely in this open set. Then the image of the open set is open, the transformed vector is again absolutely continuous, and its density is read off the starting density, evaluated at the pre-image, corrected by the Jacobian factor given on the slide. Last technical section, the convergence theorems, carried over to random variables. The point is to pass to the limit under the expectation. When can we swap the limit and the expectation? The two answers from the earlier chapters, monotone convergence and dominated convergence, come back here, in an almost sure version. Monotone convergence first. Take a sequence of variables valued in the extended reals, non-negative and non-decreasing almost surely. Then the limit exists almost surely, defines a non-negative variable in the extended sense, and the expectations converge to the expectation of the limit. The assumptions, non-negativity and monotonicity, are only required almost surely. The typical use. Series. For a sequence of non-negative variables in the extended sense, the expectation of the sum of the series is the series of the expectations. In the non-negative case, expectation and summation can always be swapped. Dominated convergence next. Take variables valued in the extended complexes, converging almost surely, all dominated in absolute value, almost surely, by a single integrable variable. Then the limit is integrable, and the expectations converge to the expectation of the limit. The technical development ends here. From measures to probabilities, from integrals to expectations. Let us gather what the lecture has set up, then look ahead. Let us recap. Probability spaces are measure spaces of total mass 1, with events, almost sure properties, and conditional probability. Random variables came next, with their distribution and their expectation. A Lebesgue integral, computable by transfer. Then the moments, the characteristic function, the cumulative distribution function, and the density. Independence followed, with its characterizations, the product law, the expectation of the product, the additivity of the variance, and the change of variables for densities. And finally, monotone and dominated convergence for expectations. What comes next? The next chapter studies discrete random variables and their transform. A word on the sources. The foundations we have just gone through owe a great deal to Brimo's treatments, in 2 of his books. Other measure-theoretic presentations, together with a more elementary classic of probability, round out these references. The content of this lecture is taken from the book Measure Theory, Probability and Stochastic Processes, An Integrated Approach. The full bibliography is given in the book. This course was prepared by Mohammed Kadim Karey. Thank you for your attention.